You know what I did realize when I was listening to I was re-listening to the last week's.
Yeah.
And we were commenting on audio earlier.
Yeah.
I heard.
Yeah.
Like clear as day, and I went, wow, goddamn, those mics.
Oh yeah,
those are fuego.
You know what's funny is I was listening to Chris D'Elia's podcast, and he talks, then all of a sudden you hear ching-a-ling-a-ling, like he's got a glass with ice water or something in it.
You hear the cubes.
You hear it cling-a-ling-a-ling. Yeah, and I was like, oh. Wow. And then he'd talk for a couple more minutes, and then you hear cling-a-ling in the glass. That cracked me up.
Those little things don't.
No.
In a casual podcast like that, they do not bug me at all. No, now, if I'm listening to like something like NPR or something along those lines that I know is
super pro level,
that's being conducted in a studio, and they've got audio baffles around, and I hear some dude's like keys.
You hear
yeah, like okay.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm not such a prude that it actually bothers me.
What's
but
worse
it's
than
more
any
like,
of those,
ooh, interesting.
But what's worse than any of that stuff is super poor audio quality in general. Where the audio is just, it's either they're recording in a poor environment or they're using really low quality mics, or they don't really know how to set up their audio system.
Yeah.
And the audio quality is so bad that I there's so many times I've listened to someone's podcast and had to quit because I just couldn't stand to hear the poor audio.
And that's, we're coming in hot. Episode 46. Sad Dad's Club
46.
podcast.
Yeah, Sad Dad's Club podcast. I'm Jim.
I'm the Foo.
And we should actually, let's talk about where you can find us.
Yeah.
Do you know where you can find us?
Google Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts.
iHeartRadio.
Spotify.
iTunes.
No, that's Apple Podcasts.
Oh, fuck. SadDadsClubPodcast.net.
Yeah, radio.com and iHeartRadio.
And you can catch our video version on YouTube.
On YouTube. Please do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then email is saddadsclubpodcast@gmail.com. And if you say that 10 times fast and click your heels, you might end up in Kansas.
Or in a party with a bunch of ladies who are very happy to have you there.
Oh.
Yeah.
I haven't had that.
Skills.
I haven't had that happen. Ever.
Because you usually get to 8. And
then I fall asleep.
Things start passing out.
Yeah. My leg goes to sleep.
And on Twitter, you can find us on Twitter.
Yep.
Which is the bulk of our social media conversation.
And facial book.
Yeah. Face Nuts book.
Face to Nuts book.
You won't find me there, but you will find us there in some form or fashion.
Yeah, you oddly don't have a presence there.
Yeah. Catch us on Twitter.
Yeah.
So
anyway, we were talking about audio quality.
Podcast guts.
Yeah.
So in a tie back to the BattleBots thing, I guess.
Oh,
so
from last week.
Adam Savage.
Yeah.
And relative to podcast audio. I had actually caught, because he just started in like his Fallout stuff after Mythbusters. He started doing his tested channel. I don't know if you follow that.
I haven't followed it, but I have seen some of the stuff.
He is still an amazing person to follow. If you're into cosplay, nerddom stuff, of a wide spectrum of stuff, he's still crazy fun to follow.
He does nutty stuff. Like, what was the one he did, like a mass loader for a Nerf ball gun or something?
Oh, yeah, the pellet, the Nerf, the yellow ones.
Yeah.
Just fun stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he started branching out also from his YouTube channel into, like, he does a podcast with the couple of the other people he has on his team there.
Uh-huh.
And they, without him and whatever is his like producer, and I'm drawing a blank on the Asian fella that's his like right hand guy.
Is that the dude that was on the original show?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Then I don't know.
Grant Imahara, I think, was him, and that's not him.
Not that dude.
They did like a breakdown of all their podcast stuff, their equipment. One of the things they have this mixer.
Oh, really?
They have a slightly different mic. I think $150 or so.
Yeah.
What I had been looking for, because we had struggled up until the round table, was these mounts, the booms. Right? They have on their table, it's a weighted base plate on like an arm that has like a telescoping arm with the mic mount on it. And for the life of me, I could not find where you get this podcast tabletop telescoping mic arm mount.
Was it like suction based or just?
It's just weight. It's like a 5 to 10 pound weight.
Oh, I see.
Plate.
Okay.
So finally catch this podcast where they're doing their breakdown. It's a bass kick drum mic.
And
I went, oh well, I know exactly what that is now because I've helped mic one of those up in a studio before, and I'm like,
so it's like
course.
the big metal dome with they've changed the base of it is
it's essentially a studio stand up mic, but it's only 2.5 feet tall
thing coming off,
and it's got telescoping, probably no shorter or longer than the Elgato arm here. I'm like totally blocking the camera. So that amount of telescoping, but it does have a counterweight on it. So so it's weighted base plate.
Yeah.
And it has the counterweight, so you can get the arm
really far
out and far, and it's not going to move. Because ideally, I would love to have that. So I did order one as a test, because we can get rid of the boxes. That's just one less thing on the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as far as the rest of our setup, I have, and I didn't digest a lot of podcasts, but between what you had baked in and knowing these were your mic calls.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. When I listen to other podcasts, or just other like audiobook stuff, if it is crap quality, it's an instant like, nope.
Well, that can come from the mic end. It can come from the processing side. It can come from the compression. So if they're putting too much compression on it, or too much, I forget what you call it. Like in GarageBand has that there's a dial for the. It's not compression.
Is it a prison?
No.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, any of those dials can really mess it up, and I think that we err on the. I think our files end up being larger than they probably should be, just because we go with the higher quality.
Oh, the bit rate?
The bit rate,
bit style.
But, I just did a little research, like, what's good. We're going to do a podcast, and so what's good stuff to use?
In like a sad dad's affordability range.
Yeah, that's not super out of, like, because you can spend hundreds of dollars on microphones.
Oh, yeah.
On one microphone.
Oh, easy.
And so I think what we ended up with is working pretty well for us, actually.
Right. And a lot of times, too, I think people, depending on what your budget is, trying to get away with a USB-based mic versus an XLR mic.
Yeah.
I think, and that was one of the things they covered on their equipment thing, was like,
that's a little harder.
If you've got more than one person
you have to have
in
a
your
mixer.
podcast, you need a mixer. Yeah. And if you're going to use a mixer, get XLR combo mics. Like these ones are double whammy.
Yeah.
They'll do USB or the XLRs.
Right.
But if you have the option and it's in your price range,
XLR.
Mixer and the XLR based mics.
XLR is like a professional level thing.
Yeah. And the cable, it's not like the cables are expensive.
No, they're not terrible.
We haven't broken the bank on audio.
No, not at all. And that's one of the comments that I get from people is, oh, man, your podcast sounds really good. Even from Tony, who was here guest hosting a couple times.
Yeah.
Right after we started, I got a thing from, man, your audio quality is really up there. How are you doing that kind of thing? And so, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm kind of proud of what we got going on here, so
yeah,
can't complain about that.
It's easier to see your face without the... Right.
Well, yeah.
Right? I don't feel like I'm looking through the boom.
Yeah.
to
Well, you
your-
see this,
Yeah,
right? Instead of
like some sort of ninja mask.
like I said earlier, I feel like slightly exposed right now because I don't have the P
Yep.
guard.
The plosive
What do you call that? The pop guard.
pop guard,
Yeah.
pop filter.
Feel a little bit exposed right now.
So-
Not sure what to do about it. And we're dataless this week.
Right. So we're just adults-ish.
Kinda.
Kind of.
I mean, I'm still 14 in the brain.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, fart jokes are where it's at.
Right. Well, like I said, I had on the table the footballs to circle back last week's episode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't let that go. So
Well, I couldn't wait to go to the Nerf website to see what they had.
I bought the cheap footballs that Data found on Amazon because I was so upset. And they came and they sucked ass. So
I think
bad.
the problem with the cheaper ones is the weight, right? They just don't have the same weight.
Well, it was tough. So when I was explaining it to Piper, because when I picked it up and I tried to throw it, expecting, the spirals of my youth, and it didn't happen. They were just flat out ducks, and I went, "Oh, well, this is frustrating," and I just put it away.
Well, don't you think part of that might have been the football too?
Right, but I wasn't ready to invest time into trying to figure out which one of those it really was. So,
well, it's the foot. I think it's the weight and the spiral of the football, probably.
Right, but
know
I
what I mean?
remember the Nerf ones because we used, as kids, we used to play with the normal ones too, and it was if you were to go from a leather type leather or the rubber football, and you were to go pick up the Nerf turbos and try and throw it, your grip, you would
squeeze it.
You would squeeze it and crush it, and then it would quack, and it wouldn't go anywhere.
Right.
So there was like this
fine line
delta between grip to be able to throw it far, and not crushing it like a baby or something. So I had her out here. I'm like, I'm just going to give this one last test. So I found the leather football. I found the plasticky, totally overdone rubberized Nerf.
Did you also have leather helmets? Because those are real.
No, and she caught all the stuff I threw at her. So
okay.
the whole thing where I said my kids can't catch, both of them proved me wrong. Because then I got Xander out here. I'm like, throw me the football.
Yeah.
And he did, and it was okay. He had like this Heisman thing. It was quite confusing. Like he would like point his arm out.
Oh, really?
And then go.
What? Is that something like
It was so bizarre. And Piper's like, what are you doing?
One thing for sure is Xander is a unique individual.
Yes. It's like a pre-dab throw.
Like he's aiming?
Yeah.
Like that's where his scope is
he was
pointing?
like aiming it down. But he was nailing it straight. And I went, Piper, you need to fuck up because he's actually throwing it.
Try what
fine.
he's doing.
Yeah. So anyway, so I was trying to, I nailed a couple spirals with the rubber, nailed a couple spirals with the leather, and I picked up that fucking Chinese turbo knockoff, and it was like, get out the Nintendo and the Duck Hunt gun, and we'll shoot this shit.
Was it just flopping around?
It was terrible.
Oh.
It was terrible.
That's no good.
Anyway, but then I got both kids out here, and we were throwing the football around. I'm like, see, okay, so it's not that bad.
No.
It wasn't so bad.
Gosh, I remember as a kid playing football in the street, and like, okay, the back of this car is the end zone on this end.
Yeah.
And this edge of the grass here at this part is the other end zone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did you
play
dodgeball?
Well, yeah, we played dodge. Not in the street. We played it at school.
I loved the shit out of dodgeball.
Now, were you one of the kids catching the ball when people threw it at you?
No, I was the dodger. I was like a fucking rabbit, dude.
So they were trying to hit you. And
you
were just like,
and I would jump and like splits shit in the air like a fucking ballerina.
Uh-huh.
It was, God, I loved that. I
now,
loved
if you could
dodgeball.
do that and catch it and be like, you're out, bitch.
Right. I didn't.
You know?
I wasn't because I was so weak and.
Oh, feeble.
Yes, but I had hops and quick rabbit agility.
Uh-huh. Well, I could see that part of Xander in you at that age, right? Because he seems like he has that too.
He has more mouse and keyboard dexterity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That always reminds me of the shirt that Buddy at work has, is like the Evolution of Man shirt, and it's like it's like Neanderthal, and then they grow into the man, and then the last one's like him crouched at a keyboard.
At a keyboard?
Yeah.
We had it.
That's what's happening.
For Christmas. It was, I can't
Hunched
remember.
over a phone.
It's on Amazon. It was, I paused my game to be here.
Oh, that's awesome.
God, I love that shirt.
That's cool. Another dude at work has like I void warranties shirt, which I thought was hilarious.
Like the stickers?
I don't know if there's stickers. I just saw his shirt.
Because I could see that would be like a good effect on a shirt. It's like a peeled. It looks like a peeled sticker. It says I void warranties.
It literally just says I void warranties.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, no one does that shit anymore.
With the stickers.
I need my Apple Care. I'm not voiding that warranty.
Oh,
I'm not cracking the case.
Well, I mean, I think the point is he's the exception.
Right.
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 So he breaks the stuff. He's the one. He takes the shit apart.
Oh, it's not the... Okay. He breaks it, or he's
well,
getting
he voids...
in the guts
he voids the warranty.
Okay, there you go.
Well, I mean, breaking it by opening it or whatever. Not breaking
not like
it.
spilling the coffee, but like, I need more memory.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Like that kind of breaking.
Right.
That's what I meant. Yeah, so, anyway. Would you have a good weekend this weekend?
It was hot. Still.
What's the deal with that? Because, I mean, I know it's summer, right? I get it.
Yeah.
But it's been fairly decent, like, during the week. And then it's like
it smokes
12
again.
degrees or 15 degrees hotter during the weekend. And it's like, man, I got shit to do.
Yeah.
I'm in the office all week, and it's okay outside.
Right, yeah.
And then this weekend comes, and it's 15 degrees hotter, and I've got shit to do, and it's just too hot
Friday,
to be outside.
I had, like, this huge list. Like, I need to reassess what needs to be done in the backyard. I did fix a side gate. The one gate, side gate needed to be fixed, needed new hinges, because they were rotting out. Turns out the big gate for the RV... like the big 4x6 post is rotting out.
Of course,
and so the big gate is got one more open on it, and then it's not closing because that whole chunk is going to come out.
That sucks.
So I fixed the side gate on this monster list of shit to do, but I had to get it done so early because it got so hot so fast.
Yeah,
like I can't. Managed to put the RV in the back. And then it was just like, I don't want to be inside anymore, but it's
hot.
So,
dude,
just initiative killing hot.
Yeah,
outside.
Well, I ended up. We have a bunch. We have that tree in the backyard, right? That I want to take down, but we've had big. I mean, we're talking easily 4 or 5 inch branches that have come off of it.
Yeah,
and the stuff has come off, and it's kind of like laying around in the yard. And it needs to be cut up and put in the green can, but it's just work, right?
Right.
So I just said, screw it, man. I don't care how hot it is. I'm going out there with the chainsaw. I'm going to cut this crap up and put it in the can.
Do you have a real chainsaw?
Electric
Electric
chainsaw.
Is it a cordless one? Like a
no,
18 volt?
It's corded.
Okay. All right. Just checking.
But the thing of it is, I noticed after some time back there, is the blade on it was so damn dull.
Oh.
That the wood would smoke, right?
Because it was just friction.
It was, just friction, and it wasn't really doing that good of a job cutting it anymore.
So you lit the tree on fire.
Oh, man, I wish I could. So it was a quest at that point to find a new chain because it's a loop chain.
Yeah.
And nobody has a fucking chain for that thing. Yeah. So I had to order one. Still waiting for it to get shipped to Home Depot.
Oh.
But here's the thing. It's one of these frustrating things where it's like you do a specific search for the model of your thing.
Right.
Then it's like Home Depot goes, "Hey pal, we got that one in Lincoln. Come to Lincoln. We've got 10 of those or whatever it is."
Right.
And I'm like, "Sweet. All right, tell the wife, I'm heading to Lincoln real quick. I got to get this chainsaw chain."
Okay.
Get there. And I find the one that they're talking about, which is called Oregon. It's an Oregon S52.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the S means, but the 52 is the number of links in the chain.
Okay. You do not have a 52.
Look at the back. Doesn't list my chainsaw. Okay. And I'm kind of like, well, that's fucked up. Why isn't my chainsaw not on here? So then I go to the book that's there.
Right.
And it tells me S52.
Okay.
I'm like, well, maybe the book's got newer information than what's on the package.
Okay.
That's okay. Maybe it's just more comprehensive.
Right.
The book is.
Right.
All right, fine. I get some chain oil. I got my chain. I go check out. I get home, get the chainsaw apart, take the 2 chains and put them side, and it's 3 links longer than it should be. It's like, God damn it.
Wow.
And no one has the S49, of course. The 49 link chain, which is 3 links shorter than the S52.
Right.
So I had to order that from Home Depot and then have it shipped to a store for free rather than paying to have it shipped to the house.
Way.
Yeah, dude, what a hassle, right?
Amazon didn't have one?
No. Not that I could find. And if they
Okay.
did, it was more expensive, or maybe it was the wrong one.
Oh,
Who knows?
Without being able to.
Yeah, you can't verify it, right?
Yeah.
But having gone through that and then doing a bit more research on the internet, finding out that it was actually the S49, which does list my chainsaw.
Oh.
Well, I couldn't verify that because they don't have it in the store.
Right.
And then their shit's wrong. Like, your shit's wrong, dude. Like,
Was it an...
you know how, like, you go buy a filter for your car?
Yeah.
And you stand and they've got the computer
Right.
or a book for like oil filters and shit.
Yeah.
It's one of those. And it lists my chainsaw, and it says for the 14-inch bar, you need the
52.
S52.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's just...
I don't think I've ever gotten a botched filter spark plug
from
the books.
No,
but
I
this
haven't.
one...
But this is a chain...
This one did it.
Chainsaw chain.
No way.
Yeah, so I'm still waiting for the chainsaw chain to come in so I can go pick it up. But in the meantime, Chandler had a Sawzall kind of thing, a Milwaukee thing.
Yeah.
And he just put the rough cut blade on there, and we got most of it cut up.
Oh.
Yeah, in the meantime.
I
didn't know he had that, so that was a welcome surprise. Probably took about 3 times longer to cut through anything than the chainsaw because the chainsaw is much faster.
That was a battery?
Yeah.
Oh.
Went through a couple batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's a frustrating ordeal when you got to go through shit like that.
I ordered one. I did buy a battery-powered one, though. They're handy.
Yeah. But damn it, that stuff pisses me off. Now, when I go get the chain, I got to take the old one back.
And now you've got another weekend. I don't even know what the forecast is like for this weekend.
It's supposed to cool off, is my understanding.
And I have patching Saturday.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal is we have a new patio cover that we're going to be putting in the back. It's still sitting in a box.
Right.
We're not going to put it up until we can paint the back of the house. So we have to paint the back of the house.
You've got shit on deck. You've got to get it done.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll probably be what'll happen this weekend.
And it's probably going to be like fall's going to get here sooner than you want.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be raining. You're never going to get the paint done unless you get it done.
No, and we have to.
In August.
Yeah. Dude,
in the fucking
it's
heat.
just, if it's not one thing, it's another. I've got so many projects at my house. Yeah. Stuff that's like half done. Stuff that like I've bought all the parts for but never started the actual project. So I have the parts sitting there but not all the rest of the stuff. And it's just...
And you've got stuff backed up for Melly, right? When are they heading? When's
stuff
she heading
on
down?
Her car that needs to be done. She moves back on the 19th.
19th. Xander's first day was today.
Yeah.
He survived.
What?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that's...
We were trying to get him to like, do you want to walk around? Yesterday evening, we're like, we'll take you back to camp because they had like an orientation day last week.
Right.
And Venus tried to like get him to, we can go tomorrow. Last night we can go walk around the campus, make sure you know where your room is and where you kind of bebop like, from class to class. That's cool. And he was like, "No, I'm good. I've got a map."
Yeah, of course.
And
of course he does.
And I went,
"Is it on PDF on his phone?
Are you sure you want to be the kid walking around with a map like a fucking World of Warcraft or something?"
Dude, well...
And he was like, "I'm good." I thought for a second, I saw in a glint in his eye that my nerd pressure was going to get to him. But he's like, "No, I'm good."
No, map's cool, man.
Venus walked him to school this morning,
With his map?
Fucking map in hand. And then when Venus got back, I'm like, so did he find it? She's like, yeah, I walked him all the way to class. And I went, with his map. And she went, yeah, but there were other kids with the map too. And I went, well, fucking all right.
Well, we did a similar thing with Chandler at Sac State.
Did you?
Well, yeah, and what was funny was he was looking for this stuff in particular, like where was it? And it was like, well, let's go get a map. And he was like, I don't want a fucking map and all this stuff. So literally Shan goes over and gets a map and she's like walking with it. Oh my gosh. Just to irritate. It was so funny.
The shame for that.
Man. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's right parenting.
Mom with the map.
Happy dad.
Oh, that was awesome, dude. I was laughing.
Does anyone know where the dorms are? My boy's staying in the dorms.
I'm looking for the Pine Hall. Where's the Pine Hall? So,
hi.
And then at one point he was carrying the map, and then he got upset with the fact that he was holding the map.
Oh.
Like he got tricked or bamboozled.
Fucking cooties.
And then the map got given back to Shanna, which was hilarious. It just cracked me up. So he
just pull that shit up on a PDF, and it'd look like he's every other kid looking at it on his phone.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to look dumb looking at a real map. I just load it up on my phone when no one noticed. Yeah. He's funny. People care about what people think about them too much.
No. Yeah. Anyway, and Piper starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
That's Shanna has kids tomorrow.
Does she?
Yeah, that's their first day.
So today's Wednesday. So it was Monday. Monday we went, like, guilted her into coming out in the heat to shoot baskets with me after I got off work. It's like, so how good to go? Like, you ready to nervous school sophomore?
Yeah.
She's like, kind of ready for summer to be over.
Really?
And I went,
what is wrong
with you? What?
Are you joking?
She's like, I kind of want to see my friends more, and that just kind of. And I went, that is so weird.
That's something I would have never said.
Because this summer, for having kids who are so social media integrated. When I look back in the last couple weeks, she went to the coast to grandma's with a friend, and then she came back for a couple days, and then she went to Santa Cruz with the same friend for a couple days. But like I don't know about you, but like when my summer would roll around, it would be like going to stay the night at a buddy's house, like. He's over here or I go to there. It's like almost every other day because there was nothing else to do.
Right.
And there was no real knowledge of what's going on outside like a phone call.
Right.
No one saw pictures of each other. What'd you do today? You didn't really do that on the phone.
You didn't. There were people you just didn't see.
Yeah. So
if you didn't have their phone number, you just never saw them.
You just went to your buddy's house and you stayed the night.
Yeah.
And you hung out and played fucking Nintendo, or you went and played Army or Guns or something
or swam or
or
BMX biking or whatever.
Yeah, or you just went exploring. Like on McCourtney, we would just take our shoes off and walk in the creek and just walk the length of it. I mean, just bizarre.
Where does this creek start?
Yeah. Just straight up. Where does the creek start and where does it end?
And why is there water in it?
Yeah. How far can we get before we have to turn around because it's A, dark, B, we got hungry and we didn't bring enough string cheese or some shit.
Right.
I said, it feels weird that I feel like I saw my friends more frequently in the summer than she did, and yet we live in a much more urban. Everyone's right here, whereas I was a car ride, and plus 5 to 10 minutes away from a friend.
Yeah, that's me.
Is it?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I just kind of would rather be with my friends in school. And I went, how different. I'm like, there's so much more media to like be able to be like, what'd you do today? Taking pictures and Snapchat stories and Instagram whatevers.
Yeah.
And she would just rather be in a place where everyone was all there to just have those experiences like a fucking buffet.
You know, we used to do a lot of BMXing. We'd ride bikes. There was down at the end of my parents' street in Fair Oaks. There was a cul-de-sac where no houses were yet.
Yeah.
And it was like you go down the hill and then turn right, and then the cul-de-sac was like go down, and then the street turned right again and went up a hill. So you go to the top of the cul-de-sac, and there was trails that went down with jumps. Oh man, we used to do that a lot. And just at the very end, like right before the street, there was a huge jump. So you just get tearing down the hill.
Yeah.
And bomb that big old jump. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
We used to do a lot of that.
Were you always sidewalks?
No, because my parents' neighborhood didn't even have sidewalks.
So you dirt road? Or
it was a
gravel?
paved road. It was a paved road, but it instead of like gutters and sidewalks, it just had a rock-filled ditch in the front of the house.
Oh, all right.
I don't know why. There's just that neighborhood was never had sidewalks.
Yeah.
I think the new area does on the back side of the hill.
Yeah.
And then most of the other neighborhoods around there all had sidewalks, but for some reason that particular street didn't have any sidewalks.
God, a lot of that stuff for me, we were essentially bound by, it was like a bike.
How far could you go?
Well, because we didn't have cement or sidewalks, the road was dirt
narrow.
road, and it was like 3/4 crushed granite was like the road.
Yeah.
So we couldn't ride skateboards or certainly not scooters. And a lot of times a good chunk of my youth, we couldn't afford a bike, so I ran.
Yeah.
I was running everywhere. Just fucking even downhill, which was the mistake a lot of times. But
because the legs start going too
and
fast.
at the end of the valley, Jimmy Holbrook, his family had more opulence than we did, and so he had a concrete driveway, and so he had the skateboards. So on like this 15 by 20, if we could get his parents to move the car, and he and his younger brother both had like Steve Caballero and Tony Hawk skateboards.
Oh yeah,
and they knew how to do all the shit, and it was like, oh fuck, wow. And I just 2 left feet trying to get on a skateboard that would not do anything for me if I ever went anywhere.
When you talk about skateboarding, man, that was my bag. I mean, back in the day, that's what we did. We skated. We listened to punk music. We went to shows, and the skating was all of it. All of our friends skated. We knew people that built half pipes, and so we would skate half pipes. One of the funner things was finding out when there was a pool that was empty that you could skate in, that you had to sneak into some backyard and skate.
Oh, yeah.
That was fun. But, man, we used to do...
Valid mode of transportation got you.
Well, my brother and I, so I started at Bella Vista as a freshman. My brother had lived with his mom in Riverside area. And hashtag hey Sean, he had moved to our house. So the summer after he's a year ahead of me. So the summer after his freshman year, he moved to our house. So going into high school, it was like suddenly one of my best friends now, who lives with me, is also now going to my high school at the same time I'm starting, except he's a sophomore and I'm a freshman.
Right.
So that first year, as a freshman and him being a sophomore, we skateboarded to school every day. And it was like the freedom that gave us, like in the morning skating to school. It's like, man.
How far was it?
Couple blocks, because my parents lived at the corner of Hazel and Madison.
Okay.
And so just cut like 2 really big blocks and then a half a block to the high school.
Okay.
It's not that far. It probably took us 15, 20 minutes to skate to school. But man, that was awesome in the morning. It was nice and cool. Skating to school, of course, in the right in the beginning of the year, towards the end of the year when it got real hot, that was a bear in the afternoon. But man, that was cool. And we had all of our friends were skater people, and So there was a lot of that stuff going on. We were always going to someone's house and skating on a ramp or what, or a street ramp or whatever.
Yeah.
Man, that was fun.
So that was freshman.
That would have been like 85,
15. So you're 14, young teenagers when you started making that out without like what was your, because here's where I'm going. What were your constraints as far as being that independent and that you probably didn't have a cell phone? Was it, how far could you go?
You could get pretty far on a skateboard. I mean, if you were determined.
Right. Well, I meant like your parents.
Oh.
Be home by dark, Jim.
I mean, yeah, more or
and
less.
don't go to fucking Folsom.
I mean, no, there wasn't any restriction on that. I don't know that the expectation was that we would ever really go that far on a skateboard.
Right.
But we knew people that used to ride their skateboard from our area all the way to Go Skate, which was miles away.
Wow.
Way down on Fair Oaks and where Fair Oaks and Marconi meet.
Yeah.
That's where Go Skate was, skate shop.
Yeah.
And they would, someone I knew like did that a couple times. They rode their skateboard all the way to Go Skate. But then, so that was like the first year. And then my brother got his license as a junior.
Yeah.
So then it was like, we were always together. So it was like, he had a car and now we're mobile, right? So you can drive your car and go skate somewhere crazy.
Right.
I mean, there were places like so imagine where my parents lived then. We used to go down to this place called the Batesville Casket Company, and there was this place called the Casket Banks.
Okay.
Basically, it was a loading dock with banks on either side, and man, kids would just be there. You'd show up drive all the way down, and this was like down by the old Arco Arena, down off of 50, down there, or not 50, 80. And we would drive down there, and you'd show up, and there'd be 15, 20 other kids there skating the casket banks.
Oh, wow.
Stuff like that. And it's like, wow, okay, this is crazy. There's other people out here skating too. And that kind of stuff happened all the time. You'd show up at a pool and there'd be other kids at the pool skating the pool that you're there to skate. I was into photography, like big time. That was my major. And man, I took pictures of us skating pools, and man, that was the blast.
When you left for that, how did you sign off or check out with your parents?
Later we're gonna go skating, kind of thing. Yeah. And
isn't that I don't know what your constraints are with the kids. Obviously they're older, but as they were growing up. But now that people have phones, it's like, I'm like, well, just buzz me when you get there.
Yeah, I think because you didn't have the cell phone tether, there was a little freedom there. Yeah. And it's not like we were doing stuff and getting in trouble. Right. But there were definitely, I don't know, definitely liberties.
There were liberties, right?
Taken. Right. And there might be times where you would
transition
leave.
To you and Chandler Millie, though?
A little bit, because it was sort of like you have to. I think it's important for you to be able to trust your kids, right, and trust that they are going to make good decisions. And some of the stuff Chandler does, sometimes it's questionable, or you question it. And even my parents would have questioned some of the stuff that we did, or probably did as well.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, yeah.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but it definitely did.
Right.
But you have to entrust your kids to do the right thing. If they're going to decide to go do something that you don't think they should be doing, at least they're making decisions that aren't going to get them in trouble.
So I see that. Do you feel that that has evolved, not necessarily because you don't trust your kids, but the things that you know of other people?
Well, nowadays it's a little different too, because you have the cell phone tether, and now you can track where they're at, or at least where the phone's at.
So you're leveraging your knowledge of other people being not your kids being irresponsible, the trust for your kids.
Oh, that someone isn't doing something nefarious towards them?
Towards them.
Yeah.
Like they're not being stalked or they're not, the places that they're going.
I look at that like you just can't live in fear all the time. You can't. That's not a
But
way to live,
that's
though.
different from what your parents probably knew because they wouldn't have something like...
Well, I think that stuff was happening.
See.
That stuff happened when we were kids, too. It just wasn't... I feel like now we just know about it more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think, like, social media and that kind of stuff, I mean, there's so many outlets for you to get news where you hear about really negative things a lot.
Yeah.
Whereas back in the day, you only really heard about maybe what you read in the Sacramento Bee or what was on KCRA or whatever. And those were very limited.
And like 24 hours old by the time you heard them
easily,
in most cases.
Right?
Yeah.
Those were super limited on what the stories were that you were going to get. Whereas now it's like you just hear about everything. There's all these outlets. You got Facebook and Nextdoor and Twitter and all this stuff that's like throwing this shit at you all the time. And it makes you feel like everything's bad all the time. Like,
yeah.
Our whole society is fucking going down the tubes hard.
Yeah.
But I think that most of that stuff was already there. You just never really heard about it.
Right. So it's
you
an
see
awkward...
what I mean?
Yes. I think it's like one of those things where you're not willfully ignorant, but yet your exposure to those external events does put blinders on what you know, right? So once it's the known knowns. It's like, well you can only consume so much like information about what's out there as far as danger without having to calculate, okay, listen, I trust you.
Yeah.
There
were always chats going on.
Right. And so that's I think the evolution between when I was younger and it was like be home before dark.
Right.
Obviously, the trust there is from my parents that I'm not going to go out and be tagging shit at the school or something.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't think they were necessarily calculating the social external forces and their amount that I can't dodge and be blind to in my age as a parent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me personally, when I was a kid, I just wanted to go out and have some fun and skate or whatever it was. So it's like I wasn't like looking to create problems or steal stuff or vandalize or, pick fights with people. That's not my mode, right? That's definitely not the kind of person I am. And then I think you impart that into your kids as well. And I'm not worried about them doing that kind of stuff necessarily, but more so of them, especially Chandler. Melanie was different because she didn't get her license until she was 18 and in college. Mm-hmm. But Chandler, especially more, how do you put this, seemed to be more affected by other people. Mm-hmm. And definitely wanted to have that freedom and get his license and have a car. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I get all that stuff. I was a kid too.
Oh yeah.
And just as an example, my wife would get really upset because he was working, and then he wouldn't save his money, and then he would go spend it on something and put it on his car, and she would get really upset. Like he never saves any money. He spends it on all this stuff for his car or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, let him do that because he's not. It's like. There's only a certain amount of time where you can be like that before like responsibility of life hits you.
Oh yeah.
And you can't spend that money. You've got to now just dole it out on adult stuff.
Yeah.
Rather than being able to like, oh, I just bought this stereo or I just bought this set of wheels for my car or whatever it was. Right.
Yeah. Now I need toilet paper.
Yeah. Now you need to pay the electric bill.
Right.
And rent and all this other stuff.
And you don't know Don Gonorrhea's number for all your paper towel needs.
For the cheap shit. Yeah, exactly. I mean, so it's like, so there's a certain amount of leeway,
liberties, and
leeway that sort of like I kind of like afforded to him. And then part of that's like sometimes you just got to get it out of your system.
Yeah.
You know, if you try and cage somebody, it's like you're waiting for a blow up, right? Or something bad.
Yeah.
Or who knows, maybe sneaking out at night or, you know, and that's and we have really good I feel like we have really good relationships with our kids. Like our kids want to hang out with us. They bring people to the house and hang out with us.
Yeah.
I know a lot. I never wanted to hang out with my parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My kids like I feel like they want to hang out with us. They want their people that they hang out with to come and hang out with us.
Yeah.
Whether or not those kids want to hang out with us or not too, that's another question. But I feel like we're the kind of parents that our kids want us to be a part of their life regardless.
Yeah.
But like
I would agree with that.
I feel like we've done the right thing by them. And
I think we're young at heart too. I think that carries over.
I think that, yeah. I agree with that, but you know, it's a fine. You kind of walk the line, and you know, we're not perfect. We make mistakes too.
Yeah.
You know, and I think our kids kind of see that also. Like, yeah, we're your parents doesn't mean we fucking know everything. In fact, there's a lot of shit I don't know. You know what I mean? And I do fuck up, and you know, maybe I said the wrong thing to you or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Sorry. You know, I fucked up, and I'll apologize. You know, that's fine. But I think, you know, it was easier with Melanie because, like I said, she was in college already. She had moved away and got her license this summer.
Yeah.
So her freedom was different from, say, Chandler. Chandler was more, I need to get out of the house and go hang out with my friends and drive around and do dumb shit, you know?
Yeah.
So
I had one of these moments, I think a father stage moment this morning.
Yeah.
So last night, so Monday started my 18-week schedule for the marathon training. So Monday was a rest day, which is totally awesome. What a great way to start your marathon training.
Yeah.
Yesterday I ran early, and I think Venus walked, or she had something, but we were staggered. This morning, she went running with her Kai girls at like 5 a.m. Slapped me as she left, and because I had running too, so I had 5 miles this morning. And as I'm putting my shoes on, she left before me. As I'm putting my shoes on and I'm getting ready to walk out into the garage to open the garage, I realized neither of the parents were going to be home. And while we've gone to the West House, you know, and left kids, both the kids are responsible and old enough.
Right.
And I'm not quite sure this time was different. Maybe it was because I was leaving and they were both sleeping, as opposed to, you know, we'll be back later tonight and they're both awake. It's like, you know, if one of them were to wake up, they wouldn't necessarily know that both of us were gone at the same time.
Right.
And it was like, I can do this because now they're both of the age where I trust their responsibility and their capability to be like, well, mom's not here, dad's not here. They would figure out a way to get a hold of us, or they're old enough where they'll cruise. They'll just go into the kitchen and get a bowl of cereal, or be like, they're not here, it's not important, and they'll go back to bed.
They'll start a fire.
All right, or or they'll just
in the middle of the
go find
room.
a goat and pagan stuff.
Yeah.
It was weird. It it took me a second to be like, they're gonna be okay. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I will say this: we had a fucked up situation that happened at our house, which was Shanna and Melanie got in the car with Nacho. Oddly,
this is current, or
this was several years ago.
Oh, okay.
They got in the car and they went to Boljon, right there, to pick up Chandler after school.
Mm-hmm.
And they were gone like 8 minutes. They left the house, and when they came back, These motherfuckers had parked across the street, went down through the gate into our backyard, took a cinder block from the side of the house and threw it through the sliding glass door, and we're in the house. So they roll up, they put the garage door up. Those motherfuckers hear the door going up. They locked the door from the garage into the house.
Yeah. And
so Chandler goes to open the door, and he can't get the door open.
Door's
and
locked.
He's like, oh, it's locked. And Shanna thinks that he's fucking around. And she's like, stop screwing around. Just open the door. He's like, no, I'm serious. The door's locked. And she knows I didn't lock that door because we don't lock that door very often.
Right.
So she immediately knows something's wrong. Well, there's 3 assholes in my house ransacking shit out of it.
Yeah.
Well, Melanie was there too. So that really affected her. So there was a fairly long time before she was comfortable.
Right.
Which made us uncomfortable also.
Right.
In the sense of leaving her home by herself. So it took a while, years, several years for her and us to get comfortable with her being home by herself. Like if we had to, hey, just need to run to the store or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That was a tough one because, I mean, that's an outside factor that wouldn't have been there otherwise. So,
there's an oddball thing that I'm thinking about too now. It's like, well, I trust these people, but when you look at it, one of the external factors that's always bugged us is that we'll get these people that come up and down the cul-de-sac here and come up to the door and ask to buy the RV.
That's weird.
And when on occasion when my dad's truck is here for a longer period of time and it's parked up the spur, hey, I need a new work truck. You selling your truck? It's like, fucking no.
Is there a for sale sign
but,
in there, buddy?
Who's to say, that whether or not their intentions are actually 100% legitimate for buying used vehicles, they're not casing. And the one time that I'm out running with Venus or we're both out of pocket and I think nothing's going to happen, it's actually a caser.
Right.
And Xander's got his headphones on and he's playing Minecraft, so he's not listening to someone coming in through the door.
Yeah.
And Piper's watching YouTube or something, and she's in the beanbag, and she can't hear what's going on in the garage anyway. Like, I'm okay with both of them and their responsibility and their capabilities, but
that's a tough situation.
Knowing... And
that's a tough situation for anybody.
Right, and I'm not even in the place where someone has actually broken into the house.
Yeah.
I've had people come and steal shit out of the garage.
Right.
But...
while we're on the podcast.
Yeah. Hey, just don't steal the mics, huh? Fuck.
Well, I mean, that's a tough situation for anybody.
Right.
And, those dudes were in my house while my wife and my kids were trying to get into the door.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some fucked up shit. And then they were standing on the driveway, and the guys are coming out the side of the house with their pocket stuff full of PS3 controllers, and one of them dumped one of the controllers in a bucket of water that was sitting on the side of the house.
And those things weren't stuff that my parents had to really ever think about. When you live way out on McCourtney, right? It's like you could, if you came up to the fucking house to steal shit. We hear you.
Yeah.
We see you.
We would have seen you coming.
And we'll catch you by the time you get down to the bridge because that's a mile and a half away, and my son likes to fucking run. He'll be standing there with a bat or the 22 or something.
That's funny because I've been a suburban kid. I grew up in Orange County, and we lived in a house in Fountain Valley, and I remember my mother being on the phone with the police because there was a dude literally on the other side of the wall trying to figure out how to get into the house. And within 45 seconds, 5 cop cars showed up. Wow. And I don't remember if they ever caught him, but they had Fountain Valley had their own police department, similar to Roseville, but smaller area. And man, when they got a call, they were there something fierce. They just everybody landed on that spot.
Wow.
But
yeah, that's
so I mean,
like a 25-minute endeavor when you're out in fucking BFE.
Oh,
Valley.
absolutely, yeah. Because
Someone broke
especially
into
because
our
it's
camp.
sheriffs, right? And they're so spread thin anyway.
Yeah.
In Sacramento County, I heard they have like 2 cars that patrol all of Sac County, like from like Carmichael all the way out to like Folsom. I mean, it's ridiculous.
What?
Yeah, they have like two cars on duty at any given time.
Right now, currently, in this
I don't
day
know.
and age.
I don't know if that's right now, but I've heard that in the past.
Who is it up above? Lincoln? Lincoln doesn't have...
Doesn't Lincoln have their own? They're incorporated, right? Don't they have their own police force?
I thought one of them has like slim to none.
If it's anybody, it's probably Lincoln. They had a huge budget issue.
Who's up there? Wheatland. Might be Wheatland.
Oh,
It's like... Or Lincoln. Yeah, I think it's... I think in driving and playing Ingress, I'd see more cop cars, vehicles, parked at the Wheatland police station than the Lincoln police station.
Oh, weird.
But I can't remember. It was some budget thing. I don't remember why.
Well, Lincoln almost went bankrupt.
Which is,
Well, I don't understand if you're a municipality like Lincoln, right? You're an incorporated area, and you're budgeting money for the year. When you decide to base your main part of your budget on building permits for new houses, that's a problem. If you're expecting the money to come in from a building permit, anything can happen to make all those building permits go away.
Right.
So why would you ever... I mean, first of all, you can't build enough houses fast enough to make enough money for the city, and then eventually it's going to build out, and then that money's going to dry up anyway.
Yeah. There's
or
only
you're
so
going to
much
have
property.
Yeah, or you're going to have a situation where the housing market tanks, and then no one's building anything, and then there's no money.
Right.
That's what happened.
And
basically.
how do you not budget for your law enforcement first out of everything?
Well, and why would you be basing
it
off of permits for building? Why would you ever? I mean, that almost should be like...
I don't think they knew what they were doing.
Icing on the cake. Yeah. Yeah, building permit money shouldn't be like the main source of your income.
And they have, like... Is Sun City Rockland?
No, it's Lincoln.
Is it?
It's Lincoln Hills.
That's so weird to me. There's so much
There's
stuff
like
going on up there.
6,000 houses up there. That's where Shanna's parents live.
Catavadera? I mean, we were just talking about that. That's high end.
That is right across the street from the top end of Lincoln, Sun City. Got a Skeeter getting ready to get on your Peter. There you go.
Not anymore.
Oh,
Caught that bitch out of the air.
Nice. Funny story.
Go.
Way back in the old days, I worked at Pizzeria Classico, and me and my buddy Tim were...
Please don't tell me you put mosquitoes on someone's pizza.
No. Me and my buddy Tim were standing in the dish room, and we're just bullshitting because it was slow. And there was a fly buzzing around, and we're looking at each other, just like you and I are looking at each other right now, and I go, check it out. And he looks at me some more, because he was already looking at me, and I just went like this, and I fucking caught the fly out of the
air,
and I was like, holy shit, it's in my hand. And I go,
Danielson,
and he goes like this, and I go, check it out, and I like threw it, and it hit the wall, and it landed in the sink, and he's all, no shit. He like freaked out. Anyway, funny story. Then I had to wash my hands because I had fly hands.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Pizzeria Classico.
Go team.
Le fly.
Anywho. Anyway.
Yeah, we're good.
Wow, was that time?
That was it.
I feels like not enough jokes in this show. Do you have any good jokes? Any good fast jokes?
No.
Oh, damn it.
God damn it.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, it's not funny. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I feel like we had important shit to talk about anyway.
Yeah.
So
it was good stuff to level set about being a dad. Like school's starting, kids are getting ready.
Yeah. Well, we got to take her down. We got to take Melanie down to school.
Yeah.
Not take her down. She's down there right now at Disneyland.
What?
Yeah.
So she has to come back to go back down?
She has to come back. She comes back tomorrow.
What does she think of the Star Wars?
I don't know. You have to ask her.
She's already been there once, right?
Oh, yeah. She's been there lots of times.
And she hasn't talked to you about what she thinks?
Yeah, she says it's all right. She doesn't really like the new ride that much. She says she doesn't get it. She does like the bar, though. The
cantina?
Yeah, the cantina.
They've got booze and shit there?
Yeah. Well, she's not 21 anyway. So. Whatever.
I'm expecting more excitement.
And yeah, I can't wait to see it.
I'm excited.
I'm going. We're going. We're supposed to be going when we go down.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Keep me posted.
I will. I thought you'd be there before I was, though.
No, it's not going to happen.
All right.
All right.
Well, let's wrap this up. We got more stuff to talk about next week.
Yeah.
So
we'll catch you next week.
No, we'll catch you next week.
Yeah, we will.
All right.
Or you will.
Fine.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good week.